Kenya, all the violence was stopped and it was suppressed. I don't know how they did it. I don't have information. But one thing I know, when KDF comes out, brethren, they don't deal lightly with citizens. They are only designed to deal with another nation. And they deal with big equipment and machines. How they stopped it, how they opened the roads, I'm sure they used everything at their disposal. The only thing I know is that within 1 week, there were no more chaos in this country. Hallelujah. And I'm sure, I'm fully convinced that they must have used some reasonable air power to stop this violence. So, brethren, what are we saying? We're saying during these dark moments, one could sense tangible presence of demonic forces vexing the atmosphere of Kenya and causing the people of Kenya to suffer immensely. I remember in 2007, 2008, we prayed, we fasted, we did many things, but now we are not finding any solution until when the army came out. And when they stopped, that is when the world community, international community, was able to come and help Kenya come up with a solution. Could I have an amen? But it happened after several Kenyans had actually died. They were summoned by the mountain birds of prey referred to in this Bible. Could I have an amen? And you can see there's a picture there. Several of them, you can see the coup leader of the 1982 abortive coup d'etat. You can see the Royal Air Force from the Isli Air Base in 1953. The Isli Air Base was their base, where they were able to launch attacks against very many Kenyans. And you can see another picture, how the Mau Maus were suppressed, how people who were viewed to be suspects were actually oppressed and suppressed by the colonial forces. These are pictures, I think they are worthy. Somebody say a picture is worthy 1,000 words. Could I have a man? In the interest of time, those pictures are useful. You can see how Kenya was able to pass through these dark moments from mountain birds of prey. And there were several other examples where there were aerial attacks on Kenya. It's been coming, it's been happening in the country. Some neighboring nations have attacked this nation from the air at one time or the other, in one way or another. Even a few weeks ago, we had some rocket-propelled grenade attacks from Somalia to some government offices in Mandera. So it's been happening. It's been happening on and on and on historically. Now let's have a quick look at some the attacks by beasts of the earth. The Bible says, beasts of the earth will winter on them. Hallelujah. Now Kenyans, brethren, they have really suffered in the hands of beasts of the earth throughout the history of this nation. And it has happened through some security operations. It has happened through some proscribed groups. It has happened through tribal conflicts. It has also happened through terrorism. There was another attack after attack after attack for the last 50 years. Kenyans have actually suffered in the hands of what the Bible talks about, the beasts of the earth. Now, when you look at the history of Kenya, you will find that there were several massacres where many people were killed. Before independence, there were two massacres. One of them was known as the Lari Massacre 1 and the Lari Massacre 2. In the first Lari Massacre, it was presided over by the Mau Mau against colonial loyalists. And they killed several loyalists, and it was very bad. Several Kenyans died that day. But then there was a response from the colonial governments. They went back to Lari again, and they captured the people that were perceived to be suspects, and they killed very many Kenyans. His history records that even some of the Kenyan loyalists who were working with the colonial governments, when they saw what the white men did to the Kenyans, to the indigenous Kenyans, they believed that these people are not human beings, the way they are Kenyans. Even the loyalists were surprised at how can they do such kind of thing against indigenous people. They saw it and it was bad. It continued. There was another massacre known as the Hola Massacre. It happened in the Hola prison, and very many Kenyans were actually killed that day. There's another massacre that was done after independence, known as the Wagala Massacre. It happened in Wajir. There's another massacre known as the Garissa Massacre. It happened in the early 90s. There's another massacre that happened in recent history in Marsabit, known as the Turbi massacre, where very many Kenyans were killed. There was another massacre against the police. It happened in a valley known as Suguta Marmar, and over 40 policemen were massacred by locals who were suspected cattle rustlers. There was another massacre outside the nation, where it happened in Somalia, where a KDF base was attacked by Al-Shabaab, a place called El Aden, and it is reported that about 60 Kenyan soldiers were killed in that attack. So you find Kenyans have died. Thousands and thousands of Kenyans have been dying by these attacks, and the Bible calls them. They come from the birds, the beasts of the earth. So these ones have been beastly attacks against these Kenyans. Of course, it was being done by human beings, but they're behaving beastly against the people of Kenya. But brethren, it has not stopped there. Bloodshed has actually continued running down this nation through the hands of proscribed groups. Amongst Kenyans, like the Mungiki, like the SLDF, killed very many Kenyans there, and some of them were maimed, some were cut their ears because of being perceived to be working with the government. There was in Mombasa, there was the MRC, Mombasa Republican Council, and their mantra was Pwani si Kenya, and several youths actually died. And before that, there was an attack in 1982 known as the Kayabongo attack, and it happened in Coast again. Shifters had been having a field day in the parts of Garissa and part of Tana River. People really suffered in the hands of these groups, of proscribed groups that were actually operating in Kenya, and they've been bloodshed after bloodshed after bloodshed. And there have also been attacks by terrorist groups in this nation, and the main ones were conducted by Al-Qaeda, and the other one Al-Shabaab. And they did their thing against the U.S. Embassy in Nairobi. They recently attacked the Westgate shopping mall in Westlands, and then they went to Riverside in Nairobi and attacked another hotel known as the 2 Hotel. And very many Kenyans, innocent blood was shed in this country. It didn't stop there. The Al-Shabaab attacked a town in the coast known as Pt.3, and several people were killed that particular day. It didn't stop there. They continued attacking a bus after another. It happened in Nairobi where they were even attacking there were grenade attacks against matatus, where some people were maimed and other Kenyans were killed. There been bloodshed after bloodshed after bloodshed by this group of Kenya. Now, brethren, it didn't stop there. We are talking about this second curse about Kenya, whereby mountain birds of prey and beasts of the earth have been causing a lot of bloodshed in this country historically. It's been happening, and you don't know when it can stop. It can only take the believers in this country, the Christians, to deal with any demonic forces and the ground demonic forces that are operating in this world from altars in this nation. We must stand wherever we are and break these altars and ensure that Kenya become a safe country whereby we shall be able to perform our divine assignment that God has given us to do it in our time. Now there have been perennial tribal clashes and clan clashes, inter-clan clashes. It happens at Mall. It happens always in Mandera between other Somali groups such as the Degodia and the rest. It happens in Tana River between the Pokomos and Oromos. It happens in Masai Land. It's been happening recently in Transmara. And in Kericho also, attacks from one tribe against the other. And this one has claimed very many lives, innocent lives. There's been bloodshed in this country. And you see, the country needs to come together, and the government come and the church, so that we can help set up a policy that we can stop the bloodshed. We must stop this bloodshed because it's happening and we don't know whether it can stop. But the Bible, today we are learning here that there is actually a prophecy that these things will happen in this country. But the question is, until when? This question I pose it to you. Until when will this thing continue happening in Kenya? We don't know when the mountain birds of prey will stop. We don't know when the beasts of the earth will stop this bloodshed. But today, brethren, God has brought you, has kept you alive to hear this message in such a time as this, so that we as the church, and if the government hears, we can do something and ensure that we change the history of Kenya for good. Could I have an amen? We can see some pictures there. How the SLDF were maiming people and cutting people's heads and ears. You can see the shifters doing their things. You can see the proscribed groups such as the MRC carrying machetes and doing things in this country. What am I saying? I'm saying this one, it was not just an accident. You can see it is happening and happening from time to time that we need to do something. We need to declare a moratorium over all these things and stop it spiritually and stop it physically. Could I have a name? Now, brethren, I've got news for you. It is not only bad. The story about Kenya has not always been bad. And God has also prophesied some good things about this nation. The good news is that there will be results of Kenya's divine assignment. And in verse 7, the Bible says, in that time, a present will be brought to the Lord of hosts from a people tall and smooth of skin, and from a people terrible from the beginning onward, and a nation powerful and treading down, whose land the rivers divide, to the place of the name of the Lord of hosts, to Mount Zion. Could I have a name? So, brethren, this scripture simply says that because Kenya would send ambassadors in this country, because Kenya would go and be and send revival in this country, in these countries that surround Kenya, there will be results. The labor of the people of Kenya would not be in vain. As a result of the Kenyan emissaries that will go to Southern Sudan, as a result of the Kenyan emissaries that will go to Ethiopia, as a result of Kenyan emissaries that will go to Uganda and Tanzania, there's going to be a spiritual harvest of these nations. And the Bible says people from these nations will begin actually worshiping the Lord of hosts, the God of Mount Zion, who is also the Father of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Will I have a name? Hallelujah. Now, brethren, as I move forward concluding this message, I want to talk to the hearts of the Christians of this country and the people, citizens of this nation, that Kenya, there are some issues that we need to ponder. And one of the things we need to ponder is Kenya has partly gotten it right. We have not gotten it wrong 100%. We have partly gotten it right. And one of our strength is that our fathers, they came up with a very good national anthem. Hallelujah. That national anthem, you cannot fault it. It was actually delivered to this nation in the spirit. It was birthed in the spirit. The choice of the words and seeking support and praying to the God of all creation. That national anthem, especially the first verse, I can tell you for free that it was actually birthed in the spirit. Could I have a name? And the second thing is that Kenya has actually held successful regional and international peacekeeping missions. We see, especially during the days of President Moi, I always tell that he's one of the presidents who was able to interpret this assignment very easily. And I don't know why. It's because he was working very close with the church. And therefore he concentrated on something, on his peacekeeping. And he was able to lead successful peace talks in Uganda. And that's why Uganda, there's freedom right now, there's peace right now. There's efforts by Kenya. President Moi tried to bring all those leaders to come and talk to Kenya several times. He presented about peace in Southern Sudan, and there was peace by that. Southern Sudan was born, and there's peace in the whole of Sudan right now. So we've been having some successful regional peace missions, and I believe that this is what God wants us to do. Even in Somalia, the reason why there was Operation Green Inch, and then the other operation that decapped the KDM Somalia to be part of the AU AMISOM mission, and it is part of the same thing. But we need to look at the strategy, whether is it in line with the Bible or not. That is one of the things we need to look at. But the efforts towards peace is actually in line with the scripture and the assignment that God has given us. We will send ambassadors. Let me tell you, the work of ambassadors are actually peace emissaries. Could I have amen? And that's what we are supposed to do as a nation. Then there's something you need to point out, is that the nations aforesaid, including Kenya, there's a challenge that is happening today. These nations are they are fast growing into atheism, they are fast growing into animism, they are fast growing into some religions other than Christianity. And the result of this has actually been very bad. By virtue of growing in such a trajectory, which is an ungodly trajectory, they have become a thorn in the flesh from time to time. These countries, because most of them, they don't fear God. And the people in those countries, they don't fear God. They become a thorn in the flesh from time to time. You think about South Sudan, you know what they did to Kenyans there after the independence. You look about Ethiopia, they've been Kenyans good neighbors, but when they are following their rebels, when they run to Kenya, they also enter to Kenya, and they have done some bad things against our people and our forces. So Somalia, I don't have to talk about it. From 1960 until now, you know the story. But I haven't made it. Uganda, you know what happened to Idi Amin and President Kenyatta, and the early days of the new president, what he almost managed to do. From Tanzania, you know that the spreads of bad diplomatic relations we've had with them from the time when the ASC Eastern Community was broken until last week in the fight against the pandemic. Now, these things have been happening in these nations because it's clear that these nations, they don't understand Kenya and they don't understand the divine mandate that Kenya has been given by God. Now, brethren, I believe the main reason why it's happening like this, why we've been having these moments whereby we have some diplomatic spats with our neighbors, it's simply because the messenger has not gone. It's because Kenya has not performed his divine assignment. If Kenya will begin doing it, and the results begin coming up, all these challenges we are facing from these nations will all end. We have not gone, the messenger has not gone to reach out to these people, and therefore they are behaving the way they are behaving because they are not getting direction from the living God. Hallelujah. So we need to do something. We need to step up our responsibility and begin working towards sending ambassadors to these countries. The third thing that I want you to ponder about is that the government actually can be exonerated. We can exonerate the government because it has done well. Where it is good, we must say that it is good. They've done well, although they can do more. Number one, the government have set up diplomatic missions in all these nations. There's a diplomatic mission in Mogadishu. There's a diplomatic mission in Juba. There's a diplomatic mission in Kampala. There's a diplomatic mission in Ethiopia. There's a diplomatic mission in Dar es Salaam. We've done well. With our neighbors, the government cannot be faulted. It is about the church. The church, I'm talking about the church. The church in Kenya, stop working individually. Stop thinking about religion. Let the church begin thinking about the kingdom of God. Let's have a kingdom mentality and be able to come together and do what God wants us to do. Hallelujah. The fourth thing I want us to ponder about is that if the church will continue, this is important, and sometimes I'm at pains when I talk about this, is that the church, if the church will continue delaying its assignment, God will send salvation to these nations through other sources. Through other sources, God will send salvation. Because the prophecy must come to pass. The prophecy says that in that time, a present, in other words, gifts, in other words, sacrifice, will be brought to the Lord of hosts from East African nations. From people that are tall, from people that are simple of skin, from people that are terrible, from people that are powerful and taken down, and from the land whose rivers divide. They will present gifts. In other words, these people, there will be a group of people that will become Christians from these nations. But there might be few. What God wants us to do is, Kenya, can we do our part so that we begin influencing these nations The church needs to begin influencing these nations so that they become all the kingdoms of this world. They become the kingdoms of our Lord and of our Christ. Could I have amen? Now, the prophecy will still be fulfilled because God promises to make it, to ensure that these people will make it to heaven. Why? You may be asking, Pastor Gil, why are you so confident? The Bible says in the book of Revelation chapter 5 verse 9 that in heaven there will be people out of every tribe and tongue and people and nation. So from everywhere, from every tribe, from every tongue, from every nation, there will be people that will go to heaven. In other words, there will be Chinese in heaven, there will be Somalis in heaven, there will be Ethiopians in heaven, there will be South Sudanese in heaven, there will be Ugandans in heaven, there will be Tanzanians in heaven. So there will be people, this God will send. In fact, let me tell you something, because we receive testimonies after testimonies. Because the messenger has not gone, let me tell you something. I want to tell you, because this one I got it from a very credible spiritual source, that God himself has been visiting some villages in Somalia, and those people, they have actually seen the Lord Jesus Christ himself appearing to them. And the only thing is that they are only fearing because of other religions. Because of other religions. You know what I mean? I will not be able to talk about it here. They are only fearing that their life will be at stake. But deep within their hearts, they have accepted the Lord Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. Why is it happening? Why is God being forced to go? Why is God being forced to send angels? It's because the messenger has not gone. Brethren, these people will be saved. God will send salvation to these people through another source if you refuse to go. So I'm talking to the Church of Kenya. Let's organize ourselves. Let's have a kingdom mentality. Let's not be thinking about religion. Kenya is not short of religion. But the kingdom mentality is what is missing out of the church. Let's think, because that is why Jesus came. He came to preach the gospel of the kingdom. Could I have an amen? Now, I want also to conclude and encourage Kenyans that the Bible also considers a reward for Kenya, that we will not be left alone. There will be a reward that will come upon this nation because of fulfilling our assignments. And because of that, God will not close his eyes. He will also think about passing a reward for this great nation. Number one, the Bible says in the book of Zephaniah chapter 3 verse 10, it says from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. In other words, it simply means from Kenya. Could I have a name? My worshippers, the daughter of my dispersed ones, shall bring my offering. Now, brethren, let me tell you something. As these nations will present a gift to the God of Mount Zion, because of our role, God does not intend us that we only be flower girls and escorting these people to heaven. Even us, we will make it to heaven. Could I have a amen? And therefore the Bible says, from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my worshippers, the people who worship God from this nation, the daughters of the dispersed ones, daughters of the people who will have gone as ambassadors in these countries, in these nations, they shall bring offerings. Could I have a name? They shall present our gifts. They shall present our sacrifice to the Lord Most High. Could I have a name? And therefore, the scripture envisages that Kenya will be a great Christian nation that will worship the God of Israel. Now, our labor is not going to be vain. When we begin going out, God is going to reward us with eternal life in heaven. So as we complete our assignment, we will not be left behind without a reward. And therefore, I want to call upon all Kenyans. Let's pray. Let's pray for this great nation. Let's arise from wherever we are and accomplish the divine assignment that God has given this great nation. I've got a few recommendations as we conclude this series. I've got 7 of them actually, and I want to share them with humility to the church in Kenya and even to the government of this nation if they are able to accept this recommendation. Number 1, let the church and the state work together to accomplish this divine assignment. Let the church and the state work together. Let us work together. Let not be pulling apart. There's no way the government will achieve its purposes without the church, and there's no way the church will achieve its purposes without the government. So let's work together. And number 2, the president And let every county governor and the president, let them incorporate in their leadership Christian spiritual advisors, full of the Holy Ghost. Not anybody who's called Christian, not anybody who has a certificate of theology. Let that person be somebody qualified and somebody full of the Holy Spirit. You must ensure that he is full of the Holy Ghost before you appoint them in your position, in the position to become spiritual advisors. Why am I saying this? I know it is easy for a leader in this country to appoint a political advisor. It's very easy for them to appoint an economic advisor. It's very easy for them to appoint an advisor on a certain region of this, for a certain region of this world. But very few will think about appointing spiritual advisors. Let me tell you, brethren, one of the things that has made America to be a great nation in this world, it is because they always have the greatest servants of God. They are actually incorporated as spiritual advisors to the president of that great nation. Hallelujah. So we need to know who is the spiritual advisor to the president of this country. We need to know who is the spiritual advisor to the governor of this county. Let them incorporate. Don't appoint just a PA. Appoint a spiritual somebody who will tell you this is what God said. Let me tell you something. Even an evil leader like Herod of the Bible, he was such an evil leader. But when he was told about the birth of Jesus, he was able to call even the religious leaders of that country to ask them, what does the scripture say about the birth of this king? And they were able to tell him, but this is what the scripture says. This is what the Bible